caves, tunnels, mazes, oh my. Knockout, we've been searching for hours. Breakdown complained, and for what? A lead and a race. Knockout swerved a turn, racing down the forest trail. There's a race outside of these woods every 2 weeks. And a week ago, I believe I might have had an encounter with the queen. Yeah, right. Breakdown scoffed, she didn't turn and run at the sight of you? Au contraire. Knockout mocked, she required medical assistance. And she let you help. Oddly. Knockout pulled into a cavern, she was attacked by an idiot male human. He answered, most likely intoxicated. By the way he was snatching her closer to him, it was obvious he had rather inappropriate intentions. I arrived just in time to catch him pull a knife on her and slash her upper arm. I managed to scare him off. The drunken bastard ran off like a coward. When I looked back to her, she was holding her arm and the wound was deep. I didn't expect her to trust with mending the gash. And you think she would come back here? Breakdown transformed, looking around. Oh no. Knockout transformed as well, but... He bent down, picking up a silvery card. It wouldn't hurt to have evidence. The morning horizon glows with yellow sunlight, the skies filling up with cerulean rays. The tall plateau stands strongly in the desert, shadowing everything else behind it. A lone figure sits at the ledge, singing softly while playing a guitar. You put your arms around me and I'm home, Molly hums, strumming her guitar. That was beautiful. Molly gasps, jumping up. We've already heard it on the radio. She stammers, blushing furiously. Still, Optimus shrugs, approaching her from behind. It's even more so in person. He dangles his feet off the cliff next to her, Servo resting next to him. Thank you. Molly blushes, looking over the forest. Sorry if I woke you up. She apologizes, blowing hair out of her face. No, it's fine. Optimus assures her, smiling. I would rather wake up for one morning to your voice for one morning than die not hearing it at all. He thinks, sighing in content. Molly breathes out and twists a knob on the head of the guitar. I woke up earlier to watch the sun rise. She admits, smiling, the earth seems at peace before then. Optimus nods in agreement, gazing down at her wistfully. He steals a glance down at her guitar, and ponders for a moment. Where did you get that? He asks, gesturing to the instrument. Molly smirks and whispers, don't tell Maiko I told you, but she also plays acoustic. She laughs, picking a few chords. I managed to sneak it from her house earlier. Optimus' face plates start to burn, Ika laugh. He wanted to cover his face up and squeal at his embarrassment. Could you play a song? He asks, gritting his teeth. Molly's face flushes red, and she slowly nods. Sure. She giggles nervously, dragging her fingers across the frets. She picks at a few chords, tuning it a few times. Looking back at Optimus, she breathes in deeply. Sun is filling up the room and I can hear you dreaming. Do you feel the way I do right now? ? Optimus smiles. His optics soften. What I'd give to hear her voice every morning for the rest of my existence. Molly hums parts she can't strum, total bliss flowering in her glittering eyes with each stroke. Each small flick flowed from her arms down to the tips of her fingers like a dance. And I'll make sure to keep my distance. Say I love you when you're not listening. How long can we keep this up? Up. You are up ? She sings, closing her eyes in content. Optimus hums along with her song, smiling softly. Molly's voice brought his mind away from all the stress and pressure he has been put under. Megatron's resurrection has taken a toll on Optimus' mental health. Then she stops. I can't apologize enough for my brother. Molly huffs. He's a DC. You don't need to apologize. Optimus smiles. He is not your responsibility. But he's my brother. Molly protests, he shouldn't have treated you like that. He had a good reason to despise me. No, he didn't. I would act like that if you were being accompanied by someone I deemed hazardous. Optimus confesses. Really? Molly raises an eyebrow. Optimus laughs. Really? Molly blushes, picking at the strings. You mean a lot to me, Optimus. You know that? Optimus blinks in surprise, as does you to me. Molly flutters her eyes. An annoying ringing vibrates from her pocket. She growls, digging her hand in her pocket. What now? She shouts. What? Faint murmurs come from the speaker. Wait. What do you mean? Molly asks, pulling her phone closer. Oh. That's bad. She winces. Yeah, I'll be there in a second. Goodbye. She hangs up in the person on the other end with a click. Something's going on up north in Oregon. Molly explains, getting up. What did they say? Optimus asks while watching her pace. Apparently there was a breach in the waves off coast. The sea wings up the thought there might be a rupture in one of the drop-off tunnels that could be pumping water out and into the currents. So now, Optimus pouts, you have to leave. Molly frowns, looking up in thought. Want to come with me? She asks with a hopeful smile. I would only get in your way. Optimus sighs. Plus, wouldn't you want an animalian soldier? I already have you. Molly scoffed, what more do I need? Optimus rolls his optics, smiling. I need to get something from the main room though. Molly clarifies, walking to the elevator. Once they get to the room, Molly rushes to her small little area. She snatched up her utility belt and clasps her gun to its holster, pockets her dagger and sticks her baton in its loop. Deadly whispers call to her. She looks to the large fang, narrowing her eyes. Could you please put that somewhere else? Molly nods to it, and Optimus carefully picks it up and locks it away. How good are you at flying? Molly asks, attaching a strip of spinal guard to her back and connects it to the back of her belt and her neck clasp. Pardon? Optimus, Molly laughs, we aren't going to ground bridge there. It's underwater. She reaches to the back of her neck and pushes the button, and the belt pulls into the chip with all her equipment. But. No buts. Just come along. Molly walks back to the stairs, climbing back to the top. Optimus groans, following Her Majesty. What do you mean? He asks. How are we flying there? His optics scan the base's top, looking for Molly. How else? He follows Molly's voice to behind him. She has transformed to her huge dragon form, her blue scales rippling against the sun's light. Get on. She smirks, flapping her wings. We have a ways to go. She lowers her neck and wings and adjusts her shoulders. What? Optimus, it isn't weird. Molly rolls her eyes. And trust me, I am strong enough to carry you. Optimus glances at her nervously. Are you sure we can't just take the ground bridge? Unless you want Ratchet to wake up knee-deep in seawater? She smirks, flicking her tail. Oh okay. Optimus sighs, I don't want to cause you any injuries though. He fiddles with his fingers, looking down. Truth be told, he has never actually flown in the open before. Molly smiles sweetly and trots to his side. She nuzzles her about into Optimus' shoulder. There are worse things than you hurting me. She purrs into his audio receptor. Molly nuzzles Optimus' neck, her chest vibrating with her purrs. Optimus freezes, melting into her touch. Molly smirks, pulling away. Now come on. She yips, I don't bite. She walks away, turning her head towards him with a devious smile. Often. Optimus stammers the words, becoming flustered as she wraps her serpentine tail around his arm. She pulls him closer, angling her wings to the floor. Hop on. She chirps, moving her shoulders and lowering her neck. Optimus hesitates, his hands empty as Molly uncurls her tail around his arm. The dragoness flirtingly whips her tail with a snap, a playful smirk fading in on her face. Come on, Optimus. She coos, pretending like she is innocent. We don't have all day. Optimus frowns, resting a hand on her neck. He leans back. How do I? Just swing your right leg over and position yourself between my shoulders and my wings. Molly instructs, rolling her eyes. Hurry up or I'll get you on myself. The original sentence was dirty, this one's dirty too. Optimus takes the hint, lifting a leg up. He pauses. Are you sure I won't be too heavy for you to carry? He asks with worry. We are going to be flying far, I don't want to put stress on you. Optimus. Molly deadpans. I have flown for 9,896 miles non-stop with 3 tons on my back before for military training. This will be nothing. She flashes her fangs in a mocking grin. Get on before I leave you here. Optimus laughs, doing as she said. Oh boy. He mutters, holding onto her thick neck. This isn't uncomfortable for you? He asks her. I'm used to it. Molly confesses, shaking her wings. Ready? She turns her neck to look at him. Ready as I'll ever be. Molly takes off, snapping her wings into the air. The air whistles around them as she rockets into the clouds. Molly. Slow down. Optimus screeches, holding onto Molly's neck for dear life. Molly smirks, okay. And she pulls her wings in. They start to plunge back to the ground. No. Fly back up. Fly back up. Please. Optimus begs, squeezing his optics shut. Molly chuckles, spreading her wings back out. Better? She laughs, gliding above the trees. Tiny leaves bristle against her scales as she soars over the woods. Optimus finally opens his optics and looks down. Lush green trees blow in the wind beneath them. Molly's shadow trails underneath her, darkening the area. Wow. Optimus breathes. This is ... wow. He smiles, relaxing his hold on Molly's neck. Molly purrs, flying higher. Isn't it? She sighs, angling her wings up. Are you ready to go higher? Molly asks, brushing her claw against the plush leaves. Optimus hugs her neck. Ready when you are. He gulps, slightly shaking. Molly looks back to him, and huffs. Slowly, the chip hidden under all her scales disperses a collar that looked extremely similar to her belt around the middle of her neck. Hold on to this if you need to. Optimus looks at her snout with a confused expression. He curls his fingers onto the collar, securing his grip. Molly dives forward, lifting back into the air. Have you ever flown before? Molly asks, flying higher. Optimus shakes his head, tightening his grip. Inside a ship, yes. But not in the air without protection. Molly enters the clouds, cold water vapor spraying them in the face. I hate clouds. She growls, shaking her head. They are flying blind, the clouds surrounding them on all sides. Molly? Optimus moves his helm around, trying to focus on one object. Hold tight, Prime. The Dragoness sighs, and with a final thrust of her wings, they burst out of the cloud. The sky opens up to the brightest day sun, reflecting light along the field of clouds. The sky is so clear, you would be able to spot a bird from miles away. Optimus gapes at the scenery, looking around in wonder. Molly smiles, gliding along the fluffy puffs of vapor. She lowers a wing, letting it cut a line through the cloud. Bet you didn't experience this on a ship. Molly laughs, speeding up. The clouds erupt beneath them, causing intricate designs in the sky. Okay, sun sets in the west, rise in the east. And Oregon is northwest, so we go up ... this way. Molly curls around a tall cloud, heading north. Optimus looks in awe at the sky, his mouth dropped open. How could we have been missing so much? He asks, resting his head on Molly's neck. I guess you ignore the planet while being at war. Molly looks back at him in sympathy. Or another reason to stick with the Animalians. Molly sighs, trust me, Optimus. We will fight with anything and everything we got. We use the world around us to our advantage. We now have what the Decepticons don't. What? Control of the elements. Molly twists and turns through the clouds, twirling in a hoop. Hey Optimus? She breaks the silence. Did you know that some clouds are so thick, that if you're trying to fly through them, you have to be going at almost 1,000 miles per hour? She smiles, shaking her head in triumph. Optimus' optics widen. No, I did not know that. So you were? Yep. Molly laughs. Most dragons are built for high speeds. Especially if they fly. It's nature's order. Optimus tilts his head. Nature's order? Oh. Molly flinches. Right. Not organic. Well, nature's order is how nature intended something to be. Nowadays, nature's order is almost non-existent since humans have come along, breeding things that shouldn't be bred, and I do admit we animalians aren't all innocent. We evolved more quickly than primitive humans. You speak of animalians as a species whole. Optimus points out, why do you separate yourself from humans? Molly tenses her muscles, tightening her jaw. You read about the War of Clea. You tell me. Optimus ponders for a moment, before gasping. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about what they did way back when. It's all right. Molly hums, just try not to mention it around the kids. They're already mad at me for not telling them about the war. Optimus nods, twisting his hands. Molly sighs, I speak of the kingdom as one species because we are all connected in some way. The dogs to the wolves to the whales, and the whales to the sea. We are balanced in nature, and will fight together when we need. Optimus nods again, and a small green light flashes on Molly's collar. What's this? Optimus questions, pressing it. A green map popped from the light, flashing a beacon. Quite that. Molly whines. Whatever you're doing, quite it. Optimus laughs, and starts to mess around with the collar. Only to get slapped in the face with her wing. Hey! He laughs, guarding his face. Molly's body shakes with laughter as they swirl around another cloud. I told you to stop. She smiles, and an idea pops into her head. She smirks, looking back at him. Hold on tight, Optimus. She shouts, speeding up. Wait, what? Optimus cries. Molly laughs, and takes away. She blasts through the clouds, and drops upside down. Wah! Optimus wails, holding on tighter to keep from falling. What? Molly chuckles, too much? She angles her wings with ease, and springs back upright. You're no fun. She looks back to Prime. Optimus? Her eyes widen. Optimus is clinging tightly to her scales and collar, low onto her back. He's shivering, his head buried in Molly's neck ruff. Are we right side up again? He asks with a stutter, peeking up from her collar. Molly smiles softly. Yes, Optimus. We're right side up. She assures, looking back to the sky. Have you seen anything so beautiful? She asks. Yes, and I'm looking at her. Optimus smiles, sitting back up. Like, the mountains are gorgeous, but the open sky is a close second. Just being able to fly right next to the clouds without any humans that'll hunt you feels so free. Molly breathes in, scaling another cloud. Optimus rests his arms in Molly's neck, looking around. And that's what I have been missing. He whispers, leaning his head on her scales. Molly's throat vibrates, a purr erupting from her chest. She perks up her neck, and lurches down. Molly! Optimus shouts, being thrown back. At least give a warning. Sorry. Molly says, diving down. You might want to get a little bit closer. She orders, pulling her wings in slightly. Optimus' chest rises in anxiety, and he hugs her neck. The cold, crisp air quickly turns humid and sticky. The oddly satisfying aroma of salt and water tugs Molly to go faster. Through the break in the clouds, Crystal bluish-green water spans out for miles along a bleach-white coast, cliffs surrounding the area on all sides besides the ocean. Molly slows down. Her wings start to beat quickly, scooping air out from under her. She slowly banks into the sand, her feet padding onto the silky beach. "We're here," she announces, raising her head. Optimus skids off of her back, keeping a servo on her neck. His optics scan the area. It's quiet. Yep. Molly squints. Must be a secluded route. A car skids above them, swerving the curve turns. They both jump up, craning their heads to look at the road. "I forgot that there is a road along the entire coast of Oregon." Molly winces, and starts to tread to the water. "Molly? Optimus, come on. We don't have all day," she yells, stepping into the ocean. In a swirl of water, she dives into the sea. Optimus whines, running after her. The water is freezing, and his legs almost immediately lock up. "Gah!" Optimus screams, falling into the water. The world explodes around him as he tumbles through strong tides. He is pulled back into the ocean, rocks scraping against his back. Bubbles erupts from every crevice in his chassis as he sinks down. The drop-off is closer than he expected, and the sparkling water above blinds him. Just beneath him, a webbed claw grasps a dark gray rock. A dark head peeks over the rock, the face covered by thick hair. Bright teal stripes flash on its body and tail. The being thrashes its tail up and shoots up. Optimus tries to float, but each time he turns he ends up sinking again. His optics quickly revert downwards, searching for the giant dragoness he was with earlier. I creep behind the rock, resting my gills. Small bubbles escape my mouth and nose, and my webbed hand goes for my bare chest. The stripes on my chest flash bright teal, and I look up over the rock. Optimus is struggling to keep himself afloat in the water. My hair starts to cover my face, and I push it out of my face. I frown, better go up and help him. I push off of the rock, kicking my tail to move further upwards. My dark teal tail propels me towards Optimus, and I slowly stop. Optimus finally stops sinking as fast, and I circle him like a shark does with a seal. My darker hair flows behind me with each swift movement, and I swim upright once more. I don't have any way of communicating with him by mouth. And I don't think he knows aquatic. I furrow my brows, and reach out to grab his arm. Optimus jumps, flipping to face me. Large bubbles of air pop out of his mouth as his optics widen. I wince, squeezing one eye shut. "Sorry." My stripes flash instinctively, and I totally forgot he can't understand me. Optimus cocks his head at me, and moves his mouth like he is talking. All that comes out is the sound of bubbles. I rub my face, shaking my head. "I can't understand you, nitwit," I say again, the 3 dots under my eyes flashing. I look down at my solid tail fin. The dots and stripes running up my tail flash bright teal spontaneously, and the ones on my body flash in a more distinct pattern. My dorsal fin is flaring and tucking back in wildly, and the strips on it keep a constant shine. If I cross my eyes, I can see the 3 dots under each of my eyes creating a strobe on my face, and the 2 bands on my nose sporadically go from off to on. My darker skin heats up, a dark blush blazing across my cheeks. "Fuck!" I curse, throwing my fists down. "Molly, are you okay?" I freeze, my dorsal fin sticking out. I look around quickly, till I glance back up to Optimus. "Was that you?" I ask, tilting my head. My hair swirls around my head with the current, getting into my face. Optimus looks at me strangely. "How did you do that?" I ask, swimming up to his face. Molly?" His voice comes back into my ear. "I can't understand you." "Of course you can't." I growl, and swim back down. My tail and hair tug down and I force myself back up. "What the heckle?" I think, bewildered. I turn on a headshot, moving my tail up and down. The current grows stronger and stronger, pulling me in closer. Then, suddenly, it forces out more water. I fly back. I shake my head and square my shoulders. Okay, found the tunnel. I look over my shoulder. Optimus? I turn fully to search for him, cocking my head. Molly. I'm over here. I look up to the left at my earpiece. I turn around in circles. Where? I pout, my shoulders slumping. Look down. I flip upside down, and catch a glimmer of bright blue. Oh. I grin, flashing my sharp canines. I swim down to him, stopping in front of his faceplates. There you are. I smile, flashing my stripes. Optimus smiles back, sediment swirling around his peds. His mouth moves again, but all I hear is glubs. What? Optimus rolls his optics, and puts a finger to his audio receptors. Where's the tunnel? He asks, his voice not matching up with his mouth. The stripes on my body light up, before I cut myself off. He can't understand me. I sigh, a group of bubbles scattering from my gills. I point up to the tunnel, the webbing between my thumb and pointer fingers stretching. Optimus nods, and jumps off of the reef floor. I follow quickly behind him, hurrying to get in front. The bubbles suck into the crevice in the drop-off, creating a huge, swirling vortex. Goosebumps crawl up my arms, making me shiver. I frown, clasping a hand on Optimus' shoulder. I tap my fingers lightly on his shoulder, attempting to get his attention. Yes. I quickly realize the bad part of my plan. I can't speak to him. Lung breathers can't talk underwater. Especially to ones who don't know the languages. And mer language is just a jumble of clicks, whistles, screams and chirps. I frown, trying to think of a compromise. It is like a light bulb popping over my head. Bingo. I smirk, and grip tighter. I start tapping my fingers in Morse. Please understand. Is that Morse code? He asks, climbing into the tunnel. Yes, I flash my stripes with my words, hoping Optimus will link the words together. I didn't know you knew that. I tap my fingers quicker. // Had to for military training. Optimus laughs, bubbles floating out of his mouth. I chuckle as well, which came out in multiple chirps. Optimus coos, your laugh is adorable. I fake gasp, crossing my arms. Another rush of heat runs up my spine as we enter the tunnel. Oddly enough, the current is much weaker in the tunnel than outside it. Cool. I whistle in different pitches, perching myself on Optimus' shoulder. I tap the code for what I said, making my markings transparent against my skin. I agree. Optimus nods. These tunnels are very interesting. He looks around to the crystal water around us and the rock tunnel, taking in the details. I smile and push off of his shoulder. I look at my arms, which were tingling just a moment ago. They are their normal color. Light beige, slightly dusted with tan undertones. The sides are shaded into the dark colors and blend with my stomach. I smile happily, and look down to my tail. Their bright markings still glow, and my tail is its usual fin. Good. I flash my tail markings, and blink in surprise. I still have the bright teal dots and blush under my eyes. I bite my lip, keeping my arms to my sides as I swim. Finally, I shrug. They're just markings. I glance down to the Autobot insignia on my shoulder, as beaming as ever. I've been trying to cover it up for school, but that has been a doozy. Molly? I turn onto my back, bending my neck to look at Optimus. Yes. I flash in aquatic, still hoping he links the two together. Are ocean caves supposed to suck in and force out water? He asks. I look up in thought. No. I flash opposite markings and shake my head. This is bad. I don't remember this tunnel on the maps. I frown and grind my teeth. There is nothing natural about this tunnel. It's too quiet. Nothing is traveling in or out of it. There should be migrating pods of dolphins and mermaids. Schools of sardines, sharks, tuna, and other marine animals should be passing in and out without harming one another. But there is nobody going in. Or coming out. The tunnel is cold too. Even if it is Oregon water, there should be warm brackish water from lakes, rivers and ponds, tropical Caribbean water and filtered water from the Jersey harbor. I open my mouth, and it floods with horridly salty sea water. I gag and cough, my throat suffocating in choking salt. My dorsal fin flares with each cough. Molly? Are you okay? Optimus jogs to my side, raising a hand to my back. I nod quickly, keeping a hand to my throat. I reach back, my hand searching for Optimus' servo. I finally feel his digit, and curl my fingers around his. I'm fine. Just got a little bit of sea water in my lungs and throat. I tap with a rush, my gills flaring violently. I look to my side, my shoulders sulking from my coughing fit. Optimus keeps his hand on my back, gazing at me in worry. I soften my eyes. Trust me, I'm fine. I nod in thanks, and squeeze my hand in assurance. A small string of bubbles blow out of my mouth from my sigh, and I turn quickly to avoid showing him my rising blush. I swim quickly ahead, clenching my jaw. I am such a flustered dork. I think, crossing my arms and keeping my chin to my chest. Bubbles burst out of my gills in a huff. 3 seconds deeper into the tunnel and my teeth are chattering violently. It's so cold in here. The currents tug on us more and more, and it takes all our strength just to stay in the tunnel. With one last force of water, I keep myself by Optimus' shoulder to hold on to. Will this cavern ever end? Optimus asks, hiding a groan. I roll my eyes, rubbing my arms. I slam my tail on his shoulder instead of tapping my hands. My hands are too busy trying to keep my arms warm. Maybe it's just an eroded cavern. That would mean he came here or nothing and we can go home. I click my tongue and start to fumble with my knuckles. Highly unlikely with how this tunnel is carved out. Optimus disagrees. Are there any creatures large enough to dig a tunnel this deep? Sea wings? No. Eels? No. Lava lizard? Wait, those live deeper. Yeah, no, there are none. I answer. Especially with this weird pattern. I gesture to how the walls look drilled. Optimus nods, so animalians don't use drills. Nope, the miners are usually burrowers already, so they use their claws and whatever else they use to dig. Oh. Optimus shrugs. I find it so fascinating how diverse Earth's creatures are. I smile, flipping my tail over my head. No one creature is alike, and each have their own behavior and set of rules. By the way, what species are you? Well, that was unexpected. You don't know, do you? Well. I waver, I know what I'm not. Optimus chuckles. Well, what species were your parents? I bite my lip in confusion. My mom was an avian, harpy. I'm not entirely sure. She could turn into any bird but also could look like a harpy. I answer. And I think my dad was a beast. They could transform into a single animal, his was a wolf. And they could change their form of animal and size. My dad had spikes on his shoulders. But neither of them could transform into multiple animals like me. I frown, I still don't have a clue how that happened. Optimus nods. Did you have any other relatives who could shape-shift into any being? You. I drone. Oh. Great X7 grandmother Rayleigh. Nobody knew what she was, so they called her a shapeshifter. It's how the term came to be. She was born during the mid-ages of the Roman Empire and died fighting Queen Ragamthala. She was 800 years old, and still looked young. Who knows how old I'll live? Optimus looks to me in surprise. 800 years. And she wasn't withering in age? Nope. Wow. Optimus blinks, and shakes his head. Wait, Reganthala? Isn't your name Regan? Yep. So you were named after her? Yes. Optimus makes a HMPH sound, and continues treading down the tunnel. Before he freezes. Did her own daughter kill her? Oops, I wince, should have mentioned that before. Yeah. It's dragon tradition. I explain. If the current ruler is living for longer than the offspring desires, they can challenge them to a duel of strength. It used to be fight to the death, but now we changed it to first blood or submission. Nobody listens to the first blood rule. I laugh, wringing my hands. But my mother did kill my grandmother. I look to Optimus, who is still frozen in shock. My grandmother was a tyrant. I explain. She wanted to murder the whole planet of humans and almost caused World War II, III, and IV. Hitler beat her to World War II. I blank my face. What a beautiful ancestry I have. The tunnel gets darker and darker, until it curves up. What? I raise an eyebrow. Tunnels don't curve upwards. I swim off of Optimus' shoulder. The tunnel shoots straight upwards, and the water ends. Holy crap. My mouth gapes open. So not natural. So not natural. I wave to Optimus to get his attention. He hurries to my side, and looks up. This isn't normal. No. Oh great. Optimus growls. How are we going to get up there? I gulp, and huff out bunches of bubbles. I squeeze my eyes shut, and my legs split apart. My fins mold to feet, and my knees unmend themselves. Large eruptions of bubbles explode from my transformation, and I kick my legs. Water floods into my mouth, and I rushingly dash to the surface. I gasp in air, my throat experiencing sweet relief of crisp air. Oh Optimus! I pant, looking down. My rapid movements must have surprised him, cause he still isn't at the surface. Something brushes against my leg, making me jump and squeal. Stars! I shriek, almost leaping out of the water. I hold my arms, looking around. Optimus! Get up here now. I hear his chuckle, and his head pops out of the water. Sorry. He laughs, rubbing the back of his helm. I growl, and splash him with water. I told you not to do that. I scold, swimming to the tunnel's wall. I couldn't pass it up. Sure. I scoff, and I thought you had self-control. I grab hold of the tunnel wall, and start to climb. I feel Optimus stare at me, before I look down and see him hurriedly swim to the opposite wall. I do. Optimus whines, but it is fun to watch you freak out over little things. Man, I can hear the smirk in his voice. I hum softly. My hand slips, as does my footing. Whoa! I yell, stabbing a claw into the rock. Optimus! Help! The rock starts to crumble, and I gulp. Optimus! I'm here! He shouts, and I look to the side. He is carefully scaling his way towards me, not even 27 yards away. He reaches out to me, keeping his hand on the rocks. I swing my arm out to his, and miss. SHT. I scream, and the rock shakes. Molly. Optimus shouts, jump. What? You heard me. I give him a dumbfounded look, and my claws slip. I scream again, and squeeze my eyes shut. 1.2. 3. I leap forwards, my claws sliding out of my fist. My fingers splay open, and I reach out for his servo. He catches my hand tightly, and pulls me up. Don't you dare let go. I growl as he pulls me to his chest. Don't plan on it. He mumbles, low enough for me to hear. I pull myself up and into his palm. I let out a breath of air, and curl up tightly. I knew I should have stayed asleep. I groan, rubbing my temples. Optimus chuckles, setting me on his shoulder. Hold on tight. He hums, grabbing hold of the rocks again. Like I'll let go. I growl lowly, keeping myself against his shoulder. He starts to scale the tunnel, with me hanging on like a bat. How much farther? I ask, keeping my head low. Optimus grunts, and his hand lands on an edge. Not too much farther. He grumbles, using his strength to weakly pull himself higher. If animalians don't dig up on a regular basis, he guesses, then what could have caused this? I shrug. The walls start to rumble and gurgles growl beneath us. What is that? I ask, looking down. Optimus cautiously glances down. The water wasn't that high, was it? He asks, tilting his head. I look to him in concern, then back to the water. Climb. What? Climb. I shout, urging him forward. Optimus jerks in shock, and starts hurrying up the wall. The gurgles instantly grow louder. Now! I shriek, my eyes darting from the ceiling to the quickly rising water. Optimus! Hurry your aft up! I don't want to drown from shock and not be able to shift on time. I yell in my head. Optimus scrambles onto the top of the tunnel, and starts sprinting. Faster! I scream, looking behind us. The water floods the floor as it increases depth. Holy hell! How is this happening? Optimus jumps up on a rock, and turns to watch the rising salt water. What is causing this? He questions. I ignore him with my jaw dropped and eyes wide. I just can't believe it. Then, it all disappears. A loud, blaring sucking sound drains all of the water from the floor in one loud slurp. Optimus and I stare at the water with wide eyes. What just happened? We stood there holding each other for a few more minutes, before I got awkward. Okay. I drawl, let's go. I let go of him, and jumped to the floor. Oh. Optimus pouts, right. Let's, go then. He rubs the back of his helm embarrassingly, and walks beside me. I pout as well, realizing I just missed out on an accidental hug. I think I can still hear the water gushing beneath us. I say, trying to make it less awkward. Optimus nods, listening closely. So do I. He replies, cocking his head. I lower my eyes. The sound gurgled below us, but what was that? Optimus. I wave to him. Listen. Optimus stops, looking around. It sounds like drilling. I observe, my mouth parting. Optimus' optics narrow, not just any drilling. He growls, stepping in front of me. Stay behind me and don't make a sound. The Prime growls, whipping out a blaster. I nod quickly, sticking behind his pt. We move forward, keeping a steady pace. The drilling gets louder and louder, echoing off the walls. I take shallow breaths, trying to stay as stealthy as possible. What is going on? Starscream, you ignorant fool. We both freeze, recognizing the voice. Oh dear. Optimus and I say in unison, and start jogging towards the voice. Another downward slope came up, and I crouch behind a rock. Speak of the devil. I whisper, watching the scene unfold beneath me. Yep, Megatron is, once again, beating Starscream to a pulp. Well, this is a nice surprise. I growl. Water pools at the bottom of the slope, and the tunnel ends just there. A huge, and I mean huge, tube blasts water at the rock with enormous amounts of pressure that could split concrete. Optimus kneels next to me, keeping a servo in front of us. I should have known. He snarls. I glare down at the group of Decepticons, the four I recognize being Knockout, Breakdown, Starscream, and Megaton. Knockout and Breakdown are standing as far away as they can get from the beating. They're using ocean water to tunnel their way into the earth. I hiss, jerking up. Molly, Optimus whispers, get down. But they're messing up the ecosystem. Sit down. I scrunch up my face, but do as I am told. Why are you letting yourself be pushed around? You are royalty. You should be bossing him shut up. And you never had the decency to inform me that she has a human form? Megatron screams at the commandeer, who is cowardly inching back. My eyes widen and my knees feel weak. Eek. He knows. I squirm and internally scream. Optimus growls, guarding me with his hand. My heart races faster and I can hear its drumming in my head. Panic squeezes every other thought in my head and pushes them out of its path. My lungs push out all my oxygen and leaves me panting. The water gushes out from the pipe, and the water level rises without a pause. From what was at the Decepticons' peds, it was now almost to their knees. I crawl backwards on all fours in fear, keeping my shoulders hunched over. I have to go back, I whisper, shaking. If they see me, I'm done for. I think in a panic, maybe he doesn't know what I look like. I mean, only the other cons have seen me out of animal form ... and none of them know my name. I whimper, keeping my head down. Molly. Optimus shouts quietly, get back over here. They might see you. I'm faster. Maybe, but... And the lower levels are all water. I protest, I can go much faster in water. I can outswim them into the open water. I have citizens out on the reef. And sharks are protective. My hands dig into the ground, dirt getting under my nails. The ground starts to shake and tremble. The ceiling crumbles tiny particles of dirt onto our heads and I look up. I stumble off balance onto my butt, and the ground continues to shake. Earthquake. I hiss at Optimus, sprinting to his side. I curl up into a ball, covering my head with my arms. Optimus shields me with his arm, ducking his head. The ground stops shaking and rumbling, and I freeze. What comes after an earthquake? Duck. Optimus looks down to me. What? I open my mouth to speak, but crashing waves explode from behind us. Duck. I shout, and run to the opposite side of the rock. I suck in a deep gulp of oxygen, probably the last I will have in a while. I don't care that the Decepticons see me, because they will get washed away if they don't hurry up and find some cover. The wave roars over my head and dumps the ocean water into the dip. It ricochets off of the end of the tunnel, swirling in a huge mass of water and cons. But the water rises quicker than I can react. My head slams back against the boulder as my lungs fill with gag-worthy salt water. I cough, my eyes burning. Too bad you can't tell if you're crying in water. I squeeze my eyes shut, and push upwards. I gasp in water. There is no air bubble. I try to scream, but choke on even more water instead. I try to hold onto the ceiling to keep from being taken away. My fingers scramble for grip. The water pulls me away, and the ledge slips from my hands. Optimus! I scream in my head. With my nerves shot and my blood running cold, I try to fight against the current. Blurry, black dots speckle across my vision. Oh, please no. I think, my eyelids dropping. I feel myself drifting down the tunnel, my skin growing colder. My legs sink like lead and I can't tell the borders between the tunnel and the black specks. Something sharp grabs my wrist and drags me down and out of the flooding tunnels. Optimus? I shiver in response, blowing out bubbles. I catch a glimpse of red from the separation of dots. It has to be Optimus ... right? At last, the pain at the back of my head eases. The water flushes out of my lungs, finally, and the burning salt leaves my system. I cough violently, and rub my head. The dots fade away from my eyes, and I blink. The scene clears up, and I gulp. The mesh holding me is Knockout. He's climbing down to the sea floor from the collapsing tunnel. I freeze like a deer in headlights, stiffening up my whole body. And my wrist. The cherry red Decepticon glances down at me from there. Corner of his optic, and my eyes widen. In that small glance, I see a hint of concern. Less than what Optimus shows, but it's still there. Knockout jumps off of the wall, kicking up sediment when he lands. He looks back down to me, and his mouth moves as if he is speaking. Yeah, I can't understand you. I raise an eyebrow, and he lets go of my wrist. I, very ungracefully, sink to the floor, causing a tiny cloud of sand. Knockout steps back, looking around. He looks worried, but before I could get a better look, he runs off. I huff, narrowing my eyes. Thank you, I guess. I turn to my side, looking to where he scampered off. Optimus is practically surrounded by cons. Megatron and Starscream in front of him, Breakdown and Knockout behind, and dozens of Eradicants on the sides. I growl, climbing over the rock. For once, I'm actually glad I skipped this full moon. My hair covers my face and neck, hiding my eyes and my growing teeth. Luckily, I can stop mid-shift. Whatever I was shifting into. My webbed claws pad on the soil as I stalk towards my prey, small clouds dusting into the water. My mouth pulls back into a snarl, baring my fairly sharp teeth. I creep along the reef floor, carefully walking over bony dead coral and seaweed. Tiny fish and crustaceans scatter with each of my steps. A hiss passes through my teeth, like a cobra giving off a warning. I halt a few yards behind them, watching the fight ensue. Optimus has his battle mask on and his weapons at full charge. I wonder if Energon is able to shoot in water? I ponder, crouching lower to the floor. Energon apparently can't fire underwater. Optimus and Megatron stare at their blasters in confusion, and I think Megatron just shook his cannon. Yeah, nothing happened. I chuckle, bubbles popping out of my mouth. Your sword, Optimus. I think to him, use your blades. Either I am telepathic or Optimus and I were on the same page, because he immediately draws out his blades and charges at Megatron. Though, Megatron isn't stupid and it only takes him 2 seconds to take out his own blade and meet Optimus in the middle. Oh well. I sigh, and stalk around the fight. We are severely outnumbered, 2-28. Oh, boy. I pick up speed, circling the other Decepticons instead of making a bigger circle around the two warriors. I kick up as much sand as I can, making my presence known. The cons back up into the middle of the circle I was making. I squeeze them in tighter, smirking devilishly. I hear Starscream shout at the drones, something like "Don't just stand here. It's only dirt. But water doesn't like people talking in its non-native tongue." And I make my move. I spring out of the dirt clouds, splaying my hands out and unsheathing my claws. I love how easy a water is to fight in. In only one swift swipe, I have already knocked out half of the Decepticons. I swim over them, trying to look as intimidating as possible. My hair fans round my head like tentacles and my nails reflect the light of the sun above the surface. "WHO's human now?" I smirk, my words coming out in a roar on purpose. I dive towards them, the water separating around my body like it would a torpedo. I shoot around Starscream's wings, slashing a long, thick scratch on the base of one. Starscream does what he does best and shrieks in pain, his wings fluttering in shock. I smirk with a devious gleam in my eyes. I snap back around, this time circling Knockout and Breakdown. However, maybe I should give Knock some slack. He just saved me from drowning of shock and did stitch up my arm. And kept Screamer from doing any more Dark Energon injections. I scoff, and dart off to the battle waging in the center of the dead reef. Megatron and Optimus are really going at each other, which causes waves of water which each strike of their blades. Okay, Optimus. I scowl, I want to get home before lunch. If you would please stop fighting Megatron, that'll be great. I float above them. I search for a diversion. Something to give Optimus and I time to escape and call up a ground bridge. Hey. I think, why not just throw Starscream at Megatron? I nod at my perfect plan, and dash back to the Wailing Commander. While he is grasping his wing, I shift into dragon form and lift him over my head. Before a single glub comes out of his mouth, I chuck him at the warlord. Not surprisingly, it was a direct hit and Megatron stumbles back. "Let's go," I growl, scoop Optimus up with my claws. I use my wings as fins to get me into the air, and scramble to shore. "Call up Ratchet, now," I hiss, setting him on the beach. "But now." Optimus hurries to come back to base, and I keep my belly to the sand. I watch the waves for any break, knowing that Megatron will be bursting out of the ocean soon. "Molly." I shake my head, and turn around. The bridge is in front of us. "Let's go." "And you two went alone to investigate Decepticon activity?" Ratchet shouts at us. Optimus and I both nod slowly. "Technically we didn't know there were going to be Decepticons there," I point out, scratching my ear with my hind leg like a dog. "Still." The red and white medic scolds. "You should have waited for backup." I groan and roll my eyes at his lecturing, my wings slumping to the floor. "Please, make it stop," I beg in my mind, popping my neck. I'm glad I already removed my belt from storage and back out of nanotech form. It was giving me cramps. "You two could have gotten hurt without us knowing," Ratchet yells, finishing Optimus' scan. "Ratchet," Optimus says with a calm tone, "it was a matter of urgency. If we would have known that Decepticons were the cause of the tunnel, we would have most certainly asked for backup." I smirk, shaking my head merrily. Maiko, Jack and Raph are watching us from the couch, and I am positive Maiko is snapping photos right now. "Crazy Asian." I laugh quietly, following Ratchet's movements. I stand up, rolling my wings. "At least we came out alive, eh Ratchet?" I chuckle, shifting back to human form and plopping myself onto the couch. "Aha." Ratchet grumbles, "Sure." My time of relaxation ends as quickly as it started with the alarm blaring. "Shut it off," I demand, covering my ears. "Who is it?" Jack asks, jumping over the couch. Ratchet pulls up the security cameras. "No idea." He states, "He's driving a motorcycle and has dark brown hair." I gasp, "It's Logan." I run down the steps of the stairs, "Let him in." I can't believe I'm saying this, but I genuinely miss the nuthead. The door opens for my brother on the camera, and I cross my arms. The roar of his Harley echoes from the other end of the driveway, and the headlight turns the corner. My dear, sweet brother puts a foot down to stop his bike, and hops off. He doesn't have a helmet, as usual. Why would he need one? I scrunch up my face and give him a dirty look. Logan looks down in shame, his face full of regret. "Hey, he starts, you never came home last night and you didn't text me back earlier or answer your phone, so I, came here to see if you were here." His eyes frantically dart from me to Optimus and to me again. "Look," he chokes back his sad voice, "I wanted to say I'm sorry. That isn't enough. I shouldn't have even mentioned about moving." Logan continues, "I know you love it here and you have a lot of friends and an actual life. I would never, ever want to take that away." He stops, sucking in his chest. "I believe you have someone else to apologize to." I snort, nodding my head to Optimus. Logan gives me a confused look, and walks forward. "I apologize for being a total douchebag to you last night." Logan frowns. "I understand why Molly had to lie to me. The same reason she lies about being a normal human. And I know I can't protect her from everything myself. No matter how hard I try." He eyes me, and I see how much she cares for you and your team. "I'm actually glad she has a pack now." I beam, closing my eyes. Could apologizing. I look to Optimus and clench my jaw. "Your apology is accepted," Optimus adds with a small smile. "As her brother, you have the right to feel protective over her. And I respect that." I grin more, and jump on Logan. I squeeze him into a big bear hug and push him to the ground. Even if I have you and Prime here to protect me, I laugh. I need practice with I grunt, flipping him over so I can pin his arm back, fighting. Logan smirks, oh, but I don't want to hurt the puppy. He jests, pouting. I narrow my eyes and jab my finger to that pressure point by his neck. Ae. Logan shrieks, flailing his arms. I mock back, is the big bad Wolverine being hurt by his little sister? I smirk, before he tugs me off of him. Funny. He frowns, but you don't want to be playing while there is a gun at your head. But isn't that what we always do? Reg. Then I'm teaching you how to be the sassiest B.A on the battlefield. I fake a salute with a laugh. Aye, Captain.
Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you guys want to watch more like it, please subscribe to my channel and become part of the video game fanfiction plot. And please leave a comment down below and hit that like button. If you guys have any suggestions on any stories you guys want me to read, don't hesitate. They're always welcome here in the video game fanfic plot. That also goes for video games. Until next time, goodbye!